Hello, good morning, and thanks for keeping a date with us on Health Business this week. Our business on Health Business is to help you keep tab on health sector as well as helping you get the best as regards your health. My name is Oluwatoyin Kolaole. Over the years, findings and figures have shown that Nigeria is the second country in the world with highest burden of HIV, with about 3.2 million people living with the virus in 2015. Nigeria has quite a lot in its hands to handle. According to available statistics, the prevalence is 3.2% among people between the ages of 15 to 45 years, while the World Health Organization revealed that the low use of condom among youth is a likely contributing factor to this worrisome figure. In the face of all this, what is the Lagos State AIDS Control Agency doing to help people living with HIV/AIDS? And is it possible to have an HIV-free society? Well, my guest on the program this morning will do justice to all the questions. Stay tuned. Welcome back. My guest this morning is the Chief Executive Officer, Lagos State AIDS Control Agency, Dr. Oluseyi Temowo. You are welcome on Health Business.
Thank you for having me on the show.
So let's start off this way. How do you collect data for people living with HIV in Lagos State? And do you think your agency would need a private participation or partnership for collation of this data?
We believe that we have a lot of seasoned experts, type M&E officer, monitoring and evaluation officer. The person that's in charge of the project unit is an expert in that area, and he has a lot of officers that are very vast in doing that. For Lagos State, we really don't have any issue in terms of our collection of data. What we have is actually a situation whereby some of the officers that are actually on the field, we are trying to train them to know where they need to source their data from in terms of going for liquid data. But collecting the data is not an issue. And that's to tell you that even in our study of prevalence rate, we always get to the accurate figure that we need for Lagos State.
Recently, Nigeria was hit by non-availability of antiretroviral drugs in some centers. How did your agency get these drugs for your patients, and how did you follow it up so that these patients get the needed drugs as at when due?
For Lagos State, that has never been an issue in terms of supply of drugs, and the further step that we take is to involve the community pharmacists' participation, because we realized that we could not just do it alone at the government level. So we involve them. Once a patient is diagnosed of having HIV/AIDS and the prescription is given, the nearest pharmacist that is close or closer to the health facility will be contacted, will be enrolled on our list, and then the patient will be given the address to go there and be getting a supply of drug even monthly. And that has worked a lot. Recently, when we went for a training in Abuja, Lagos State was recognized as one of the best community pharmacy participation of HIV/AIDS control in Lagos State, in Nigeria.
What is the success rate of mother-to-child transmission of HIV in Lagos State?
It's, for me, I would rate it as 100%. I can confidently say it's 100% because we've not recorded any case of a positive baby from a negative mother since we started this campaign of how a mother could actually report herself when it's positive. And that has helped us a lot in terms of also ensuring that all the caregivers, like the traditional birth attendants, they have been trained adequately. So any of their clients that are positive, we always tell them to refer them immediately to the nearest health facility, government facility in Lagos State, and that has helped us a lot. And we've not recorded any negative baby from any positive mother.
Moving on now, can you intimate us with the current ratio of people living with HIV/AIDS in Lagos State?
We say for record purpose is about 2.1%. That means that for every Lagosian, when you have 100 Lagosian, you just have 2 that are positive for HIV/AIDS.
Okay, let's move now to awareness of HIV/AIDS in Lagos State. How has it been with ELSACA?
We'll be able to create awareness in Lagos by making sure that we do what we call community participation. And that's one, in terms of involving every community to be part of the awareness campaign. I.e., we have opinion leaders, we have HIV loyalists and vanguard, people that would go into all the corners of where they stay and educate people. We also make sure that we use, lag bus is there. We see us in the jungles in the Lagos buses, where we would educate people about where to go to when they have challenges of HIV, or if there's anything they notice in their body that is strange to them. That's number one. Also, religious leaders have been adequately briefed to preach all this in the churches, in mosques, and in any social gathering that they find themselves. These have helped us a lot, and I believe that we are still we'll still continue to do this one, because we believe that we want to make Lagos State a zero tolerance state for HIV/AIDS.
On my way here, I read something about that the non-use of condom by youth increases the chances of HIV/AIDS in Nigeria. How true is this?
Well, the Lagos State Control Agency, as you know, we are the coordination of, we have the mandate to coordinate all the activities of HIV/AIDS. We have organizations that are also partner with us, i.e. Ministry of Youth and Sports, the Ministry of Women Affairs and Poverty Alleviation. These are the ministries that are in charge of the youth, really. And we've been collaborating very well. The last time we were in their youth center, where we would educate all these youth as to the use of HIV, both the in-school and out-school youths. I want to believe that that study that you've read, I would not really believe that it's true, because I believe that all our youth, they are actually educated. And even those ones that are not educated have been, aware. They are aware of the scourge of HIV/AIDS in terms of practicing unprotected sex. Also, the other thing that we do is that we have all our leaflets around, in buses, in bus stops, and even churches and mosques. We distribute all leaflets to make sure that we get this thing to the heart of the youth in all their activities that they do.
To what extent do you think the fight against HIV/AIDS in Nigeria depends on international donors?
Well, I would say that we might need them in some area. The area we might need them is actually in terms of capacity building. For the provision of the test kits and the provision of drugs, they are also very needed. But I believe that we are owning up all these services very soon. And that's why you see us rolling out Lagos State Health Insurance Scheme, whereby procurement can be made available for all Lagosians that are positive on HIV/AIDS. And we want to give kudos to the government of Lagos State for also having it thought to include the services of HIV/AIDS in the health insurance scheme. So I would say that for now, we might still need a bit of their support at the international level. But the preaching all over the world is for all the countries of the world to own their HIV/AIDS services, and which I believe His Excellency Mr. Kimberly is trying for us in Lagos State. You'd be surprised that for us as an agency, we have been actually adequately funded in terms of increasing our budget allocation particularly for the control of HIV/AIDS. So I want to give kudos to His Excellency Hakeem Ahmadi for a lofty idea that has done that direction.
Finally, do you think we can have an HIV/AIDS free society?
Let me start by saying that it's possible. It's possible because HIV/AIDS is seen as a disease of circumstances. It's an emergency that occurred in the early 80s, and to that effect, the world they've come together, realizing that we are now accepting it as a form of a chronic ailment, which ought to be treated as an acute ailment, as a short-term ailment, but definitely is now becoming something like hypertension and diabetes, and these are the things that we don't want to occur. And that's why United Nations Assembly come together to put up strategy in terms of eradicating HIV/AIDS and by 2030. And there's also a roadmap towards that effect, and that means that there's an initiative that you've been hearing about the HIV. It's called 19-19-19 HIV. We want all the states of the countries to go to their populace to ensure that anyone that are positive HIV, they must identify their status. Because you may be living with the virus, you don't know whether you are positive or negative. So what we want to do is that 90% of people that are living with it must know their status by 2020. That's about 2.5 years time to come. And those that know their status, they will be assessing drug. And those that are assessing drug will have what we call viral suppression. So that is the second mighty, getting drugs. And then the third one is those ones that have viral suppression. And this has helped us a lot. For Lagos State, about 2 weeks ago, we were in Ikorodu, going to all the local governments in Ikorodu to screen them and to educate them, whether you are old or you are young, whether you are a male or female. The other area that I would say that will make it to be possible is what we call transmission of mother to child transmission. That one, you know that you are talking about the fact that catch them young. You want to now have a negative baby from a positive mother. So when that one has occurred, it means that our generation is going to be free from HIV/AIDS, because we now have younger ones that are negative. That is another strategy that we are adopting, and it's really, really working. Of course, the other strategies in terms of use of sharp objects, use of circumcision from local specialists. These are the things that we are debunking from people, telling people that it's not a proper practice to do. So I believe it's very, very possible for us to achieve it, and we are working with it. That's our goal in this agency. That is the commission that the governor has given unto us. He was there when those things were signed into law. Personally, he was there last year, June. He went with us to sign that thing as a participating state. In fact, Lagos State is represented the whole of Africa, in that agreement to make sure that it's been accredited by 2030.
Thank you so much for being part of the program.
I want to thank you for coming as well, and I believe that for you as journalists, you want to be part of this awareness campaign. You have been our partner. I want to increase your activity in ensuring that people are well advised and well given the instruction as to how to control the HIV/AIDS. Thank you very much once again.
Moving on now. Did you know that the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria is the oldest medical association in Nigeria? Let's watch the documentary to get other valuable information about the forthcoming conference of the society. Stay tuned.
Historical accounts establish that the practice of preparing medicines and dispensing same, otherwise known as pharmacy, is the oldest profession in the world. Such accounts further claim that it is from this profession that other medical fields such as medicines, nursing, and lab sciences originated. In 1887, the European-style pharmacy was introduced in Nigeria, and this brought about the enactment of Drug and Poisons Ordinance of Lagos Colony in 1902. In 1923, the Association of Nigerian Dispensers was formed, and subsequently in 1923, the Poisons and Pharmacy Act was also enacted. In 1927, the School of Pharmacy in Yaba, Lagos was formed, and in 1930, the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria was formed. In 1956, it was recognized by the law as a professional society in Nigeria by the federal government. Since then, the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria organizes a national conference every year to address the achievements and challenges of the association and profession in the country. So, what form is this year's conference going to take? The Central Planning Committee Chairman, Lulu Ujo, let us in on the plans for this year's event.
For us as pharmacists, whether you are in the hospital, you are in the community, you are in the academia, or you are in the industry, we want everybody to be conscious of what their roles are in making drugs available, particularly to those communities that may not be as privileged as those who live in the urban cities.
What is this year's conference tends to achieve?
We are doing something to reach out to unserved community apart from medicine availability. And one of the big features of this conference is that we are going to be impacting a community not far away from the capital who has never seen an organized medical facility. So we take the medical facility to them by using a mobile clinic and making sure that everybody involved in the healthcare system is there. The doctor, the nurses, the laboratory, the pharmacist, and we take their drugs there. And we hope that we'll be able to serve about 500 people so that their immediate need can be taken care of.
How will the public benefit from the outcome of this conference?
We will have medicines available as needed at the time that is needed. That's one. Two, the upsurge or the increased tempo of activity in local drug production will mean that more people will be employed. So it will create more employment for people. Then again, if we are able to rationalize or sanitize distribution of drugs, then our people can buy their drugs with some measure of confidence that they are buying the right thing. And we will remain healthy.
All roads lead to Umuahia, the capital of Abia State, for the 90th Annual National Conference of the Pharmaceutical Society of Nigeria.
Welcome back. Next on our lineup is Understanding Infertility with Dr. Abayomi Ajayi.
Yeah, based on research and from doctors too, they say that lifestyle, healthy lifestyle is actually very essential to fertility. It's very key when it comes to fertility. And I asked myself this question, what actually is a healthy lifestyle? Well, what do you think about that?
I think exercise is key. You just need to be fit, and exercise is what's going to give you a healthy lifestyle.
Hello. How are you all today?
Thank you.
Yeah, I hear you're talking about lifestyle. Yeah. Oh, wonderful. I think that's what we just made the topic for today's episode. Welcome to Understanding Infertility. My name is Dr. Abayomi Ajayi. And just like we started, we're going to be talking about lifestyle and fertility today. And when we talk about lifestyle, I heard what you were saying. These are choices that we make.
Okay.
And fortunately, they are modifiable habits and ways of life, and they can greatly influence our general fertility, our well-being and fertility as well. Well, we'll look at some of the factors. Well, I heard you talking about exercise. Well, I won't start from there. I'd rather start from age, because this is something I caught. It's what is happening now. People are getting married at later age for different reasons. Either education, either they want to pursue a career, and this affects both men and women. People think it's only women that age affects, but you know what? Men are also affected, because we know that testosterone, the hormone that produces the semen in men, decreases with age. It's a natural thing that just happens. So we know also that parameters in the semen also decline from about age 35. And after 40, actually, the DNA, that's the man, all the man contributes in reproduction is his DNA. And this also, we have seen that there is a lot of fragmentation in the packaging of the DNA after age 40. So there's so many things that actually, so that's why you see, even for men who are older than 40 years, their partners take longer, even if they marry young wives. Take longer for them to conceive. But for the women, it's actually Seriously, women are actually responsible for fertility, and therefore, when the older they get, the more difficult it is for reproduction to happen. The other thing that we can look at is what you mentioned about diet, which is also an exercise. Yes, exercise is good, but excessive exercise is also not very good, both for men and for women. One thing we know that weight is also very, very important. Obesity does not augur well for both the man and the woman. But we know that men who are overweight the sperm concentration is lower in them, motility is lower, DNA damage is higher, and there is erectile dysfunction also is commoner in people who are overweight. For women, it's very grave that an ovulation, they don't ovulate regularly because the body has a way of interpreting there is enough estrogen in the system because of the ones that come from the fat, and then so they forget to ovulate sometimes, and miscarriages are commoner in them. And the other thing that people talk about is stress. Now this is the story of the chicken and the egg. We don't know which one came first, whether it's stress that causes infertility or is infertility that causes stress. It's difficult to tell, but you know that stress can be psychological, can be physical, and can be social, but they are associated with infertility.
We're still watching Health Business, and this is Understanding Infertility, and this segment is called Doctor Explain This with Dr. Abayomi Ajayi. We have so many questions concerning infertility and lifestyle. Dr. Abayomi, you're welcome on the program. Well, this morning, as usual, we have lots of questions, but we'll take them one after the other. Peter sent this from Delta State. He is curious to know if smoking and drinking can affect or cause infertility in men.
Sure. It's that's well documented that both excessive alcohol and smoking will reduce sperm count in men. But that's not even only for men. The two also affect women. So as much as possible, when you're facing the challenge of infertility, it's better you, if possible, give up alcohol completely, if possible, or reduce your alcohol intake. But smoking is a no. It affects the two, both man and woman. So yeah, I think it's better for him to give it up if he's...
Okay. Etim sent this from Bayelsa. He said he's a baker while his wife is a makeup artist. He wants to know if their job is a contributing factor to their infertility.
Well, I guess bakery, well, you know that the testes, I mean, it depends on what kind of, the old bakeries where they used to have furnaces for oven, that might definitely affect fertility, because we know that we always say that men should try to keep it cool when it comes to the areas of the testes, and if there's a furnace, definitely it's going to hit every part of you. Depends on how long you now spend in such areas. Yeah, definitely could affect fertility. So maybe but it's something that to consider. It could be a contributory factor. For the beautician and the makeup artist, I don't think there's anything. I don't know so much about makeup, but I don't think there's anything that is toxic that they expose themselves to.
Sheon asks if there is a non-medical approaches such as relaxation or medical techniques that can improve on our chances of getting pregnant.
Sure, we're getting more and more into this thing of relaxation techniques now, that because there's a component of infertility. It's like the story of the chicken and the egg. We don't know which came first. It's the stress and infertility. Whether it's stress that came first before infertility, or is infertility that came before. But we know there's a relationship between stress and infertility, and therefore things that could take away stress, like she said, for example, yoga, acupuncture, there are things that might encourage, and then also known to, especially something like acupuncture, increases the natural endorphins, the happy hormone. So there are things that might contribute to conception, but that is there is no real problem. For example, if your tubes are blocked, then you need to have treatment. If sperm count is not good. So basically the first thing to do is always to have a good assessment before we start looking at some other things.
On to our last question now. Bayo sent this from Lagos. He said, looking at the economic situation in Nigeria, will you say recession is responsible for some young couples not getting children on time?
Well, probably, because we just mentioned about stress and infertility, where if maybe the economic situation might stress, but that's a fine print. It's a very fine print. Like, the two commonest reasons why people don't get pregnant in this environment is sperm count being deranged and tuber blockage. So those are the main giants in the causes of infertility. So things like stress are just footnotes. So I won't say recession is, except if it affects some other things. I'm just joking anyway. So I think, no, that would be far-fetched.
That's our package on health business this morning. My name is Oluwatoyin Kolawole. Remember, living healthy is a serious business. Bye for now.